our response to food allergies warrants a true sense of urgency. And consider these startling statistics. Every 3 minutes, a food allergy reaction sends someone to the emergency room. In the United States, 200,000 people require emergency medical care for allergic reactions to food each and every year. And medical procedures to treat anaphylaxis resulting from food allergies increased by 380% between 2007 and 2016. We recognize that food allergies can be a significant barrier to both safety and to quality of life, and our citizens deserve our prompt and comprehensive action here. That is why I have filed legislation Friday to make Nassau County the most proactive municipality in the state of New York when it comes to protecting our children and our citizens from food allergies. The bill that I have filed has 3 main components. First, it mandates allergy awareness signage in all Nassau County restaurants. This legislation would require conspicuous allergy awareness signage in both the dining room and the kitchen of restaurants that contain the phrase, "If you have a food allergy or a special dietary requirement, please advise a member of staff." Those signs must also list the 8 major food allergens and actions that an employee should take if they see an individual suffering from an allergic reaction. Already, similar signage requirements exist in Illinois, Michigan, Massachusetts, as well as New York City and Suffolk County. Next, my legislation requires restaurants to designate a minimum of 2 employees as food safety officers. These staffers will undergo allergy awareness training established by the Nassau County Department of Health so that they can initiate an allergy response plan on notice that a customer has a food allergy or is experiencing an allergic reaction. Moreover, a food safety officer must be on premises during all hours of a restaurant's operation. Training certification for food safety officers will last for 5 years and will be transferable from restaurant to restaurant. Finally, my bill creates an opt-in program to give restaurants an official Nassau County designation as an allergy-friendly restaurant. Once the Department of Health certifies that 100%, and let me state that one more time. Once a restaurant determines that 100% of a restaurant's employees have completed allergy awareness training, that restaurant will then become eligible to qualify as an official Nassau County allergy-friendly restaurant. The Nassau County Department of Health will maintain a digital list of these restaurants so that they are easily searchable for parents, patients, and tourists alike. These restaurants would then be able to use this official designation on their website, on their menus, and in their advertisements. The parents I stand with here today can speak to the daily rigors and difficulties of both raising and protecting a child with food allergies. These parents, their children, and all who experience food allergies deserve our attention, our urgency, and most importantly, our action. Inclusivity doesn't just extend to race, religion, or ethnicity. Inclusivity is about ensuring that no matter an individual's personal set of circumstances, that their government will rise to meet the needs of their individual challenges. So let's pass this bill, and let's make Nassau County the most allergy-friendly municipality in the state of New York. Thank you very much. I'll now introduce Legislator Drucker.
Thank you, Legislator Lafazette. I'm Legislator Drucker, as was said. It's with great pride and enthusiasm that I wholeheartedly support this legislation. We live in a world today that, we have a lot of things that are really unexplainable. We have additives to food, we have environmental issues, and these allergies that have arisen are very, very scary. I'm sure all of you have witnessed people who have allergic reactions, and this bill is about saving lives. That's what it comes down to. When you boil it all down to, it's about saving lives. And anything we can do as legislators to help protect the safety and the welfare and the health of our residents is what we do. But this bill is about training, it's about education, it's about awareness, and that's what we do. If you can get restaurants now all over the county to be aware, to present a type of training and educate the public about it, We're doing an amazing job, and I applaud Legislator Lafazan for this very, very proactive piece of legislation, and I support it, and I hope everyone else does too. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Legislator Drucker. We'll now hear from Legislator Mule.
Good morning. I stand here in support of Legislator Lafazan's bill here. As he stated, this is already happening in other states across the country. So we're not reinventing the wheel. We're not doing something that, hey, will it work, won't it work? We already know that it's going to work. When I was growing up, we never knew anything about food allergies, but as my children were growing up, all of a sudden we couldn't bring certain foods into the classroom, and so we started to become more aware of the problems of food allergies. It's time that our legislation caught up with what's happening in society, and so I applaud you, Josh, for this piece of legislation. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Legislator Mule. It's my privilege to invite up Arthur Bacall from the Bacall Food Group.
Thank you, Josh. It's great to be here because this is exciting times, because I have been in the food industry, my entire career, worked at hotels, catering establishments, restaurants, and the awareness and the education and everything that's been taking place over the last many years is great, but we're not there yet, because eating out, dining out, and really taking care of the customers from the owner side, it shouldn't be just a privilege. It shouldn't just be a nice experience. We're talking about life, safety, and being somebody that has both food allergies and having two children that also have life-threatening food allergies. This is very important. What's being done with this bill, and to require restaurants to adhere to these standards, it might be a challenge from the restaurant side, but it's more important to address what's going on to the end user, to the consumer, to the children, to the people. It's really everybody. It's adults, it's children that have this challenge, to go out, just to what people might consider just a regular night out. This becomes something that is required, and it really is so important what you're doing. My wife, who you'll hear from now, has spent her whole life, because of not only our children, she's not only helped our children live a much more normal life, dining out safely, but she's helped people around the world. She's helped colleges, she's helped camps, she's helped all different types of restaurants in education and awareness. And what she's doing, and now with the help of Josh and this bill and legislation, is going to make everybody's life that much better. And it's really so important, and I'm just happy to be here today and see everything happen. Thank you so much. My wife, Liana Silverstein Bacall.
And just briefly, because I had a note that I had to make sure I got this in. Liana, who is an exceptional person, she is one of the founders of Food Allergy Initiative, which is now FAIR. She's a fierce advocate for children with food allergies, and it's my privilege to have her here. Liana Silverstein Bacall.
Thank you, Josh, and thank you to all of you that are giving attention to this much-needed matter. Food allergies are on the rise. It's an epidemic. My kids, 3 of them, 2 have food allergies, 1 does not. I know the fear that goes into just a dining out experience, traveling, going to people's homes for play dates. We live with a low level of anxiety always. I will tell you that we are a very loyal, committed, powerful group who support the people and establishments that support us. We will help you, we will thank you, and we will always be by your side and happy to help you in whatever way we can to make a dining out experience safe for everybody. Thank you for everybody.
Thank you very much, Liana, and thank you very much for your leadership. It's my privilege to invite up another parent of a child with food allergies and a new friend of mine, Elana Zimmerman.
Hi, everyone. I am mother to 2-year-old Axton and 1-year-old Arlo, who both suffer from life-threatening food allergies. At such young ages, they have suffered 5 anaphylactic reactions, resulting in emergency epinephrine that I've had to administer and trips to the ER. In fact, my 1-year-old this Thursday night suffered a terrifying reaction that makes it extremely hard for me to be speaking today on this topic. Every day is anxiety-filled, managing food allergies. I can't properly convey to anyone who doesn't experience what it feels like after your child survives a life-threatening reaction. With the disease, while the disease feels isolating, I know I'm not alone. The statistics are alarming, as you've heard from Josh. I have some New York State statistics to share with you. According to Fair Health Inc., the percent of just reported anaphylactic reactions in New York State alone has risen 125% from 2009 to 2016. Imagine those numbers now, and 43% of those claims are children under 13. Prior to having children, my husband and I frequent restaurants all the time. That's no longer the case. We can't trust that our babies can safely consume food prepared by anyone other than us. We only frequent those restaurants that have gone above and beyond to instill confidence in the proper handling and preparation for our babies, and it's difficult to find such establishments. After all, our babies are just babies, and they don't have the means to communicate when they experience a reaction. Quite frankly, it's terrifying, and we're constantly on high alert. With that, we depend on the caution and seriousness applied to those preparing food on their behalf. We expect, as a first line of defense, that a restaurant takes allergies seriously and can apply safe preparation down to the very last ingredient, and when handling the counters and utensils used to prepare that food to prevent cross-contamination. Unfortunately, restaurant staff, regardless of role, don't have the knowledge or education to instill this confidence in us, and often we have to abruptly leave a restaurant, or we simply just don't go. It's not those who don't take allergies seriously that I fear. I fear those who have good intentions, but that don't have the resources and knowledge to understand how to prepare an allergen-free meal. Those scenarios can be fatal. I can't count the number of times that I've been guaranteed a food doesn't contain egg, and to see that it's covered in mayo, which contains egg. That's just one example of the lack of food training and knowledge that some of our community restaurants have. And this is why it is crucial to have a designated food safety officer on premises at all times. It is essential that Nassau County pass this food safety law to protect the lives of all those living with food allergies. I understand dining out is a privilege. It's something that brings a community together. The number of people going out for food or meal and a nice social setting is going to decrease because the number of families experiencing allergies is increasing. Those living with food allergies are no longer a small minority. According to FAIR, 1 in every 13 children is born with 1 or more food allergies, and that number is growing exponentially. In fact, I don't even think 1 in 13 is accurate. I think it's probably more like 1 in 10 now. With such a large portion of our population living with food allergies, it is all of our responsibility to ensure eating out at restaurants is as safe as possible. Getting this law passed is essential in protecting those with food allergies. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you very much for those powerful words, Elana. I just want to recognize we have a new entry here. One of my close colleagues and friends, Sila Bino. Thank you for your support, Sila. Thank you. It's my privilege to introduce my former colleague, my forever friend, the president of the Syosset School Board of Education and a parent of a child with food allergies, Tracy Frankel.
Good morning, and thank you, Legislator Lafazan, for placing an important spotlight on those of us living with life-threatening or severe food allergies. As someone who has grown up with a parent with a life-threatening food allergy and who now has a child with one, I am keenly aware of how vulnerable and anxious many feel when visiting food service establishments. How often have we asked a server whether certain allergens are in the dish we'd like to order, only to be told that they don't know? How many of us have learned the hard way that a main ingredient in a dish was left out of the menu description, despite that ingredient being a common trigger for allergic reactions? Can you imagine what it must feel like to ask a server if nuts are in the sauce of a dish you ordered because you are allergic, and that server responds by saying there are only a few, as if that should give you some comfort? The common thread to these common experiences is a lack of training and knowledge of food allergies, which results in the failure to appreciate how the absence of ingredient information and accurate menu descriptions can lead to devastating medical events. having been a part of the Syosset Board of Education's creation of and participation in a district-wide allergy committee, allowed me to understand how the creation of an allergy policy that places a focus on training and allergy awareness can provide our parents and students with some security, knowing that our staff is knowledgeable about allergy concerns and how to respond to reactions appropriately. Syosset's allergy policy accomplishes this for the district, and now I'm grateful that Legislator Lafazan has drafted a bill that will incentivize food service providers across Nassau County to become trained, responsive, appropriately and specifically staffed to address allergy concerns, and more transparent as to the actions they will take when informed about customer allergies. Legislator Lafazan understands that it is critical that our food service providers be educated, conscientious, safe, and empathetic to those who suffer from life-threatening or severe food allergies. It is heartbreaking to read about these senseless deaths caused by misinformation and a lack of awareness. If you think about it, it is information that will help those of us with allergies to make safe decisions about the food we purchase. It is information that will make our food service providers equipped to truly service all customers safely. And it is information that will save lives. If we have the opportunity to save a life, why wouldn't we do that? Thank you.
Thank you very much for those eloquent words. It's my pleasure to introduce my mentor since I'm 16 years old, Dr. Jeffrey Reynolds.
Whenever he says that, I feel older than I really am. I'm Jeff Reynolds. I have the privilege of being the president and CEO of Family and Children's Association. In any given year, we provide services to 25,000 Long Island families and their kids, and we know that overall food allergies are on the rise. Among those 25,000, we know that there are any number of those kids, and an increasing percentage, that not only face food allergies, but whose parents struggle to manage those food allergies. And aside from those 25,000 kids, I've got a son who's 8 who struggles with food allergies. I will tell you that just on Friday night at a restaurant, chain restaurant about a mile from here, that's known among allergy families as being friendly, I had a server ask me, how significant are the allergies that your son has? And I said, well, I've got 2 EpiPens sitting right next to me, so it's pretty significant. And I asked her why she asked. And she said, well, because if they're significant, then the preparer will actually change their gloves in between handling another meal and yours. That's the kind of training that needs to happen. We know that by and large chefs get this, they understand it, but staff who are hired very, very quickly, particularly in this economy, may not understand the implications of what they're doing, may not understand the menu, and may not understand how to keep our kids safe. I'm really happy that Josh has introduced this legislation. You know, the minute Josh took office, he set out in protecting kids and families with an opioid prevention bill, and now this. And I want to thank you for all your hard work, as well as your colleagues on the Democratic legislature. Let's hope this bill becomes a reality. Several other parents here have spoken about what it's like to live day in and day out, wondering what will happen. This bill helps take some of that mystery out and also protects restaurateurs and other families that are in that restaurant. I've made several emergency room visits over the course of my son's life, and I can tell you that when that goes down in a public setting, it's traumatic for everyone across the board. This is something that's good for our families, it's good for the community, and ultimately it's good for business on Long Island. So thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Reynolds. It's my privilege to bring up a rising freshman at Cornell, a recent Syosset High School graduate, and an individual who suffers from multiple allergies, specifically a severe gluten allergy, Johnny Grossman.
Good morning. My name is Jonathan Grossman. I'm a recent graduate from Syosset High School. I was born with a peanut and tree nut allergy, and in 2012 I was diagnosed with celiac disease, an autoimmune disorder that affects the small intestine when gluten is consumed. The intent of this piece of legislation is to change the way restaurants across the county go about their daily procedures in the kitchen and in the dining room. The most important part of this is education. Many waiters, waitresses, and chefs may not know all the allergens that they are working with and may not know how to deal with cross-contamination. And you know what? That's okay. That's okay for the families who enter a restaurant with no food limitations that need to be worried about. However, this becomes a problem for the little boy who orders an entree, takes one bite, and finds his face and lips swelling, eyes burning, and throat closing. This becomes a problem when a staff at a restaurant does not know the proper protocols for when an allergic reaction has taken place. This has been a problem for me for the past 18 years. My adolescent and teen years have not been easy due to my foodborne illnesses. All I saw were the difficulties with this unique lifestyle, strictly quarantined from any traces of gluten, peanuts, and tree nuts. Not being able to eat at my friends' houses, having to pack extra food for overnight trips, and calling ahead to places I would go to in order to make sure that there were options for me to eat, all have proved how difficult it is to live with food allergies. However, the most difficult part about this entire experience has been the limited restaurants offering gluten-free and nut-free options without cross-contamination. Here is how a typical restaurant experience would go for someone like me. I enter the restaurant, usually with my family. We sit down, get our drinks, and the waiter or waitress comes over and takes our order. Before a single food item is ordered, myself and my family members interrogate the waiter on every ingredient that is used in a dish that I'm interested in and how it is all prepared. Eventually, the waiter is out of answers, and the manager and chef need to come to the table to assure that my food is free of all my allergens. I need all the information as I'm not behind the doors to the kitchen, so I'm not 100% sure of how my food is being prepared and what is touching it. Just 2 weeks ago, I was sent to the hospital after taking 2 bites of a pizza that I was told to be gluten-free and nut-free. Little did I know, the cheese that was put on top of the pizza was a cashew-based cheese. After just 1 bite, my throat started to swell, massive welts started to develop on my body, and my skin became uncontrollably itchy. I was going through an allergic reaction. This is why we need this bill. We need this bill so all restaurants in this county know everything about food allergies, the foods they are cooking with, and how to handle the occurrence of an allergic reaction. We need this bill so all people who have allergies do not end up in the hospital like I did 2 weeks ago. We need this bill so cross-contamination is not even a worry for people with dietary concerns. And we need this bill so all people in Nassau County can go to a restaurant and feel safe with the food they are eating. I want to thank Legislator Lafazan for taking the initiative to continue helping those with disabilities and trying to create a safe environment for those suffering from food restrictions. Thank you.
Thank you, Johnny. And you can see he'll have no problem handling the workload at Cornell. I think he'll be just fine. Our last speaker, somebody who is crucial, because in order for this bill to have merit, we need restaurants to buy in. I'm proud to introduce my friend and the owner of the Coach Grill and Tavern in Oyster Bay, Russ Lundstrom.
First thing I'd like to do is thank Legislator Lafazan and his team for allowing us to stand with him today in support of this important legislation. I have 2 beautiful young daughters, Sansa and Cher, who I'd do anything to protect. My wonderful wife and I have been very fortunate that our daughters have no allergies yet, but I can only imagine the stress for parents of allergy-sensitive children. Anytime someone visits at the Coach Grill or a waterfront restaurant, Cooper Bluff, they are trusting us with their experience. We want guests to know that we will deliver the best product and customer service possible, but we also want them to feel safe. That is why this proposal is so important and time-sensitive. Families deserve to go out to eat and not worry that their children get sick and wind up in the hospital. When this legislation is adopted, we at the Coach Grill will proudly opt into this amazing and important program so our friends and guests can feel safe when they visit us. My hope and my belief is that every food service establishment in Nassau County will join us to protect the health of our patrons and, most importantly, our children. Thank you.
Thank you, Russ, and I look forward to the Coach becoming the first restaurant to opt into this program. I want to thank everyone for being here. I want to thank a couple of key people, Holly Curtis and Danny Schravel, who asked for no recognition in return, but are 2 of the most exceptionally hardworking people in this building. Thank you for having us be here today. Thank you. Yeah. And lastly, I want to thank Priscilla Kwanzaa, who this bill would be not a reality without you, so thank you very much for your efforts. Folks, as you've heard from our speakers today, this is a priority, not just for me as a legislator, not just for my colleagues, and not just for my friends, but for everyone in Nassau County, not only whether they have a child experiencing food allergies, but every parent who is compassionate about what it's like to go to a restaurant and experience that dining experience. I'll take any questions now from the media, but I ask my colleagues on both sides of the aisle, let's pass this bill into law. I'm sorry? So I've begun exploratory conversations with members of the Republican caucus. It seems that we'll have support because everyone's experiencing food allergies. Republican or Democrat, everyone has a child or a sibling or a cousin experiencing food allergies. I anticipate this will be unanimous, and I hope it will be unanimous. Any other questions? Usually that means I'm pretty thorough. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.